All in favor of approving?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and just to remind you, we are filming, and so for those who would like to look online, and there are many apparently, so we're glad to be able to provide that.
Even the school board.
Really?
Yay!
Okay.
Robert Schneider said that he
I better start dressing better or something. I had no idea. Okay, so is Michelle here? Committee reports, fundraising. Jenny for book club.
Is this a good time to present about yearbook patron?
Sure.
Alrighty. Well,
Sure.
so
What's your name?
I'm Jack Switzer.
Okay.
So the yearbook, we're doing this thing called Patron, and what it is, if you donate money to the yearbook, your name will be in the yearbook. And the money that you donate goes to kids, or for scholarships that kids would otherwise not be able to get a yearbook. So the more money you raise, the more kids can get a yearbook. So, and if you give $5 today, you will also get a KTX bumper sticker. So,
Can I get one of those? I forgot to get one.
here you go.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like one?
Why don't you pass them out so people can all have them? Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
But the bumper sticker offer is for right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Let me go get my checkbook.
Yeah, stick around for just a minute and I definitely want a bumper sticker, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and pull out my wallet. All right, there we go.
They probably.
I don't need papers.
Okay. All right, are the Choice Fair and Showcase chairs here? How about, Renee, do you have anything on shadowing?
Yes, I looked at the spreadsheet, and we have 3 people signed up right now for shadowing. There's gonna be more.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and you put that out already on the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, everybody who fills out an application and does the online form, it will automatically go to my spreadsheet, and I can keep track of it every day of who's signing up. And that will, I would suspect that probably about 85% of the people will do online, and then the rest will be mail form, sending in their applications. So, but I suspect we'll have well over 500.
So this is, people are asking about to host too, that's a
Oh, to
separate
host,
thing.
that's going to be, we got that started, and we are going to, when school starts back on January 6th.
Seventh for the
7th,
kids.
then we're doing it in science class.
I haven't talked to the
Oh,
science
okay.
teachers,
Have
so
it, okay.
don't say that.
Okay.
But we will do it,
That's a
we will
proposal.
do it in a subject area where the kids have access to computers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll take care of that.
Okay.
That's one of those things.
Yes.
that I'll take care of.
Since we're starting the last week of January, we gotta start rolling on it as soon as we get back. And they'll have probably 2 weeks to sign up.
We don't need to give them 2 weeks.
No.
If they don't wanna, if they really wanna do it, they'll do it in a week.
Okay.
And just,
Get it done.
yep.
Okay. And then, of course, I'll talk to you about speaking to the kids, because I know that's normally is the
Yeah.
process prior to it starting.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's rolling, and the kids get the opportunity to do it in their science classes.
Or social studies, or English, I'll
Yeah.
just bring around the teacher. Probably science or social study, more computers.
So Renee, when will you be asking for volunteers? Parent
Ann-
volunteers.
Ann Phipps is working on the volunteer spot right now, and she is hoping to have that out before Christmas break, so people can sign up through the break and we get all those slots.
Okay, so everybody be on the lookout for that just before Christmas break. Okay, I know we need a lot of help with that, so
It's only 30 or 45 minutes, it's super easy, and it's a lot of fun.
And
Okay.
really important.
Excellent.
You know,
So-
that one of the things in our leadership team meeting the other day, we were talking about shadowing. And we had the same issue last year, if you'll remember, we have to give the MOI too, so there are gonna be some times when we're doing some testing in classes. But we'll have to get with you about that.
Okay.
Because that happens in February.
Okay.
That's it's the only assessment the district asks that all students take.
Julie, I think I skipped over you
Oh.
for Magnet Office Teacher Support.
Yeah, on Monday, we had 2 parents come in and help in the magnet office, and right now I don't have any other requests, but I'll send out emails as needed.
Okay, well, Julie, with the PTA, put on an amazing holiday party for the teachers and staff.
awesome.
It was awesome, with all the
Earlier
help.
this week. It was really, really nice.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work.
And so appreciated.
Well, it was a group effort for sure. And there were enough gift cards given that every teacher and staff member got one.
Right, because the intent is to have them as door prizes and just,
They poured in.
but they did,
Yeah.
they poured in, so everyone got one. That was fabulous. Great publicity and great response. Is Brooke here?
Except I don't have anything to say. 'cause I'm
That's
just
fine.
learning.
It's okay not to have anything to say. It's not for a
So
while.
I'm just gonna teach me everything and I'm just going to,
That's great. We just want to make
cookies and
sure
lemonade.
we have you on the agenda, so if
Yeah.
you need help, we can,
Brooke and I emailed briefly,
Yeah.
and I just said maybe after the new director starts in January sometime, maybe in February, we'll try to get on her calendar, just talk about how they've run before, and if she has any thoughts about what she wants to do differently or the same or whatever, and then we'll move on.
okay, excellent. Okay, treasurer's report. Ken?
Kind of going back a little bit towards the fundraising thing, so to date, we've had 138 donations, average is about $178. If you account for what we're expecting as far as matches, a lot of times they lag coming in, but we usually get the forms along with it. We're at about $27,300, including what we expect in matches, so we're at about 78% of goal, so we're doing real good. The donations so far exceed what we did last year, and I think it's the highest it's been since I've been here, so that's going very well. I'm excited about that. Another thing that usually we have the expense and requests that come in, and they're just in my mind they're just kind of incidentals or things that are just coming along and things that we've all talked about. But one thing that did come up recently is a request for a bunch of iPads. Patty Hill is doing the Flip program, or I'm not sure what the actual technical word.
Flip classroom.
The Flip classroom. And she put in a request for some iPads for the students in order to help so that when they're in class, they can actually use those to do the work and work along with that. So we're considering that as a pretty large purchase on our side, so wanted to let everybody know that we've discussed it amongst ourselves. We'll probably be formalizing that and approving it after this at the executive meeting. From a budget perspective, it's over our technology budget for this year. But what wound up happening last year is there were some technology items that we were expecting to fund that we didn't wind up funding in the end. One of them was the hosting for the website here, which we had on our equal technology budget. There were also planners that we were planning on, had budgeted for, but didn't do that. So we have funding left over from last year as well as our budget for this year. So we're gonna, we need to discuss it, but I think everybody's pretty much in agreement. We're gonna go forward with purchasing those for us. So wanted to let everybody know that this is one of those large purchases that we're planning on doing to support that Flip classroom. And I think everything I've heard about it too has been very positive. So want to support that. It's weird. So just wanted to make everybody aware that we're going to be voting on that after this. So.
Can I give Patty a plug too? Ms. Hill just jumped into this when we started talking about it last year, and she started researching it. She spent the summer working on it, And she, in fact, presented to all of the schools, the district's math teachers at their district level meeting on flipped classrooms. And now we have a lot of other schools wanting to come on board flipping their math classes. And she'll also be presenting in January at the Texas Middle School Association meeting, the conference, on how to flip math classrooms. So we're really excited about that.
Now, can you explain a little more what flip means?
Sure.
It's
Flipped
watching.
classrooms is when you, the student, instead of going home and doing homework that covered what the teacher taught that day, they actually go home and the teacher, they watch a video, or they can come to the library after school if they don't have the technology, but they watch a video on the teacher teaching the new concept. And the teacher, it's not focused on the teacher, it's really just focused on the page, right? So you hear, but it's their teacher's voice talking them through learning the concept. And what they get is they get practice. So there's some guided practice. Then the next day, they come to class, that part's already been done. So now the teacher can focus on independent practice and on application of that knowledge. So I'm not having to spend class time teaching the initial concept. I can spend more time making sure the students are doing it accurately, because a lot of times we teach it in class and then when they go home, they do it wrong and they learn it wrong, especially in math. And once you learn it wrong, it's hard to undo it, right? It's even harder. So it just makes so much more sense. And I will tell you that Patty has taught for a long time, and she is coming to me and she is so excited. She watches her own videos and she goes, why am I asking them to do it this way? I ought to be teaching it this way. So it's really causing her to reflect on her own practice as well. So it's a great teaching tool, not just for our students, but also for our teachers. And the cool thing is, because she's posting those and anyone can see them, kids in other classes can go online and watch her teaching those concepts too.
How are the iPads going to be used in this? Because usually, the technology you use at home, or you're saying in the library. Why do the iPads come into this?
What she's gonna do is, she is going, first of all, there are a lot of applications that are free for the iPad that she wants to be able to use in class. And she also wants to have the kids do some interactive stuff on the iPads, that you can't do just with paper and pencil. She says it would also change the nature of some of her assessments. She, what did she say? She said they'd be recorded. She'd give students a single problem to solve. Students would record their solutions. They wouldn't just write down what they're doing, but would narrate the steps they were taking and why. And she thinks that would work much better with the iPad for kids who tend to be more reticent and that kind of thing. She said that some of the lessons could be more interactive and dynamic. She said she's created some interactive lessons, but can't actually use them when the kids have no way of accessing the necessary resources during class. For example, she's created lessons for transforming graphs and limiting domain and range of functions that uses a program called Desmo's Graphing Calculator, and she had to shelve it this year because she hasn't had the technology in order to do it. I think that this is really exciting for a couple of reasons. One, it is wonderful to be able to support a teacher who is stepping way out of her comfort zone and trying something that will really benefit kids. So, that's one piece. The other piece is it's really exciting to have a project here for our teachers to see some of the possibilities. And Patty's the pioneer and stepping out there. So, it's good for kids in that she teaches and others who may see her videos. But it's also good for the staff because it's a model of learning for an adult and of teaching them. So I think it's really, really exciting.
Well, I was gonna say too, she doesn't have computers in her classroom. It's a
Right.
completely computer-free, if you walk into her room,
There's
it's just
one
a bunch of
teacher
hexagons
computer,
in her desk. And she is teaching the entirety of that. Like, I don't know, Patty's amazing. She's doing whole things that it won't just affect her class, I think it's going to affect the entire math department in Keeling. If
I
she
think
is
I think
more-
it's gonna reach past the math
Yeah.
department. I was sharing with Mr. Shove the other day, I'm on the board of the Texas Middle School Association, and I'm part of the Schools to Watch site visit committee. And I got to go do a site visit last week at Hudson Bend Middle School in Lake Travis. And they are doing some amazing things with technology. And it's not a one-to-one, they didn't get a one-to-one assignment with their students, but they are a bring your own device district. But the things that they were doing, I came back and all I had to say to the teachers was, I saw this, this, and this. By the afternoon, I had how many responses from teachers that said, oh, I've already gone online and I've looked at this, and oh my gosh, over the holidays I want to look at this and I want to try this for next semester. So they're excited about it, and there hasn't been an excitement about technology for a while here, and we need to be embracing it. So I'm really excited about this step forward.
Do you anticipate that this will impact how we decide, for those of us with sixth graders, how we decide if algebra is going to be a good fit for our seventh graders?
I think that, I know that KMag is planning on having a discussion that Patty and Michael Word will come to and talk about. I don't think it will. I think that you'll still want to consider your kid,
Okay.
the content, that whole, thing about, do you want your kid to be in a high school credit class
In
that
seventh
moves at a
grade.
really rapid pace in seventh grade? And
Okay.
it'll be all about your kid.
Okay, so it's
Given
not
on that, I
like
think
a,
it really would have been fabulous if last year, I wish AJ had access
Yeah.
to those videos, because we were doing a lot of reteaching at home
Yeah.
based on her notes. And
Right.
so if we could have just pulled up her video,
It'll be, yes.
and because I went back, I've looked at some of them this year, they're amazing.
They are, I think I might have.
They're
really
so
learned
clear,
algebra.
like I was like, oh, anybody can understand algebra.
Yes,
And they're
exactly.
funny, she's hilarious.
She
On the
is.
videos, my kid is laughing with his earphones in at the table. I'm like, and he's laughing at a math video and doing math, right? Every single time he has one.
Yeah.
It's all
but you're thinking if as a parent, I've already thought, then this isn't going to like suddenly make.
No.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
It's just to make, it's hopefully going to help the learning stick. Any time that we can present material in multiple modalities, we know that the learning has a better chance of sticking, right? And by having another way, another resource for children to not just hear it once, but let's say I'm the kid, I need to hear it several times. All I have to do is hit replay now, or a week down the line, or 2 weeks down the line before I take the test, I can go back and replay the sections that I wasn't still quite sure of. I'm doing that review and I'm not quite sure of this concept, so I can go back and view it again. How exciting.
You can also pause and take a note, and
Exactly.
in classroom, you can't do that when the teacher's just lecturing in front of the class, like you just have to keep up with the notes, and so it's really.
I think we're just gonna see this spread, and I think in 2 years from now, you're gonna see such amazing things going on.
I just have a question. Do you anticipate over the next couple of years, I'm asking of sixth graders, that Keeling will, I guess, transition to a bring your own device school? And I'm asking because the school we would have gone to is a school like that. So is that something that sort of the parents should start thinking about devices and that kind of thing now, or?
I wish I could answer that. There was the bond, one of the bonds that passed was a technology bond, and unfortunately, it's tied up in the court system right now. What I was told by the technology director was even if that money were released, let's say this spring, it would be the next spring before we could expect to see the impact in our schools. Even though they're making plans, they've got a plan on what to do with it when and if it's released, right? But it will take some time before it rolls out. I'm not sure what that plan is. I'm not sure the impact it's gonna have on our campus, because my concern is our computers are dying. Our desktops that we're using with students, our laptops that our teachers have, our laptops that our students are using in those carts, they're at end of life. And we don't have the financial resources on the campus level to be able to begin to replace all of those. So I have some concerns about what's gonna happen with that.
You know, and already in many classrooms, if kids have smartphones. They're invited to use them.
We tell the kids and we tell the teachers, you feel free to let your kids pull out their phone during class, but they need to understand that once they walk out of the class, it's turned off and it's put away, right? But a lot of the teachers are having them take polls, do some research on their phones, if the kids want to. So that's already being done. As far as recommending bringing iPads and things, I'm not quite there yet.
And this may be a better question for later in the meeting, but I'm just wondering if there can also, so there's going to be a math discussion, could there also be a foreign language discussion to kind of, along with HB5 or whatever it is, to kind of figure out as a parent how important is it to have high school credits, how helpful. My 8th grader will finish with 3 high school credits, 1 in foreign language and 2 in math. And what I'm thinking for my 6th grader is to kind of reverse that with going for the 2 in foreign language and 1 in math because of a multitude of reasons. But is that even important? Like, just kind of how, I would never overload either one of them with a whole year of foreign language and algebra. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it just seems to me, and this is something you may want to have a greater discussion with about, but the point isn't high school credits. The fact is, in high school, the kid has enough time to earn the credits he or she will need. It's about the learning and, you know, and how far they can go and how far they want to go. You know, in my world, I think the more of one foreign language anybody takes, the better off they are. Because to me, the goal in the language shouldn't be 2 years or 3 credits or whatever it is. It should be bilingualism. And that takes a whole long time. You know, but it really depends on your perspective as a parent of your kid and your values. You know, what is it that you want? You know, for me, I remember with my kids, I really didn't care if they all finished calculus BC. But I did care that they had at least 5 years of one language, minimum. And, you know, so it's family values. It really depends on what you want and what you think is best for your child.
And I agree with that. I think what I'm hearing from other parents is just, especially like, for example, you know, my daughter is hoping to do the Fine Arts Academy, so she's going to have those, you know, I keep hearing that people have to do things over the summer or online to fit all their required credits plus the classes they want to take. And
I think the opportunities that you're receiving here with earning a couple of high school credits will take you over that hump. Yeah, you're not going to have to worry about that. But I get what you're saying, because part of it is kids being able to take electives that they want, that keep them interested, and that may spark an interest that extends to college in their career, right? And we want our kids to have an opportunity to take those electives. I don't think that you have to earn 5 high school credits in middle school in order to have those opportunities and not have to do anything over the summer. I think what you're getting now is plenty to allow you a little bit of flexibility in your schedule to do that.
I gotta say too, at the high school, there's the opportunity to take classes at ACC after a sophomore year. There's Delta, where you can take classes on kind of at your own pace. And those are, because there are some classes that are technically would take a whole semester, like health, that a lot of kids can just motor through in a really short amount of time. And so yeah, it does free up electives, but do you have to do it that way? No, but there are so many cool electives out there at a lot of high schools that a lot of kids like to do that. Just
It
to
can
get it
feel
done.
like only graduate, it's, graduating is not really the issue. It's really like, oh
Right.
my gosh, I wanna take organic chemistry and blah, 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 and
Right.
blah, blah. You're like, well, limit yourself,
Yeah.
child. But it's
It's
the
more
opposite
how
problem,
much
that's not a
they want.
problem, that's a,
Exactly.
right? It's just
But
like.
if they want to take 4 years of drama, you want them to be able to take 4 years of drama. And
There's plenty of.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I don't think you're gonna find it an issue, especially honestly with the new plan. It's
Yeah,
very
there's less
different.
requirements, and the board is getting ready to vote, the state no longer requires health or speech.
right.
And, they've not required more than 1 year of PE credit for a while, and the district has required those extra semesters, and they're getting ready to vote about whether or not they're gonna continue those requirements or not. So there may be more space, even more space, you know, for those types of classes.
So
And the
foreign,
ACC, you can do dual credit, so something that counts as a college credit and a high school credit, you know, so.
do you recommend foreign language? Like, how do you determine that? Is that just a conversation with the foreign language teacher, or
What? What do you?
whether to
what's
take, for example, Spanish 1 or Spanish 1A?
What we will do, I hope, because it ain't me, what we have done in the past is looked at, when we saw a kid sign up for Spanish 1A, signing up for Spanish 1 for 7th grade was not an option. However, what we did in the past was sent the list of all the kids who signed up for Spanish 1A out to their 6th grade teachers and said, tell us which of these kids is organized and really on top of doing his or her work. And then for the kids who a teacher or two said, yeah, this kid, we would send a letter saying, we'd like you to think about Spanish 1 and Spanish 1A, and we sent out a compare and contrast. Here's what the similarities are, here's what the difference is. Please decide what you would like and get it back to us. And that letter will be available to Diane. If she wants to do the same thing, it's dead simple.
And actually, it will probably be more widespread this year because the district, I was at a meeting yesterday with the high school principals, and the district is moving to where they would really like, we already offer Spanish 1 and French 1,
No,
whatever.
not
No,
French
not
1.
French, just Spanish 1 at the 7th grade level. So you can take it in 1 year and then the 2nd year in the 8th grade. Most schools have not done that. We're one of only 2 schools that have offered that. So the district is trying to get more of the middle schools to offer the 7th grade all in 1 year and the 8th grade all in 1 year, so that they can get the 2 credits. But they're leaving it up to the schools to be flexible, because we would like to keep that flex in our schedule so that the kids who want to take 2 years to get that 1 year worth of credit still have that opportunity. Because there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of learning about the culture and the geography of the language, and that's important to get kids to spark their interest, I think. And some kids just aren't ready for that all in 1 year.
But aren't they going to 1 credit per year? Isn't that what the?
That's what
the-
she's saying.
No, it's not gonna be going to.
It's
I mean,
Okay.
for
making
next
it-
year it will be, right?
No.
No, making it available as well.
Oh,
So
because at
it's going,
ACPTA, I thought they were saying that 1 year of foreign language now in middle school will count as the same as 1 year of foreign language.
we're still gonna be given the flexibility
Oh.
to have an option, so that as long as we're offering both. Because that's what I thought walking into the meeting.
Yeah.
And I asked the question several times so that I could be clear that we're still going according to the high school chief, that we have the flexibility to be able to do that.
Because what's the middle school superintendent's name? He was unclear about that.
Who?
I'll look it up, don't worry about it.
There isn't a middle school
No, not
superintendent.
I'm not saying the right term. I'll look it up.
Okay,
I know it sounds like a cliche, but it really does depend on
the kid.
the kid. My oldest daughter, who's a senior in high school, she took Spanish here. She's taken, pre-AP and AP Spanish in high school. She doesn't like it, and as a result, her Spanish speaking skills are virtually nil. My son, she's done really well in the classes, but my son does not do well in Spanish class, but he actually enjoys speaking to people in Spanish. So whenever he gets the opportunity, he does it, and in the meantime, he's barely passing sometimes some of his Spanish classes, so.
I was your daughter. I took all the French. I couldn't speak it, but I could read it and write it.
Let's see, Ken, I think, are we still, should I run more?
Sorry.
Okay, well, I did want to clarify that actually, so Ms. Hill's buying mini iPad minis. That's what we're getting, and we're getting one for each, a class set. That's what's going to be bought. All right, co-chairs report. So these little flyers here, we're finalizing our spring schedule for KMag. So we do have an open meeting or two, so if there are any topics that y'all would like to see discussed, please let Anne Marie or me know, and anyone on the video as well. Please feel free to email us. Okay, the school board is working on their facility master plan, and that's going to be that's done every 2 years, and they're working on it. The staff is working on it now, and it's going to be finalized in June. Correct. So this is really important, and I think this year it's particularly important because of the failure of the bond issues especially for the new schools. So that's one of the bond propositions that failed. And that was to build new schools in actually multiple parts of the district. There are some fast growing areas where there is just no place for any new students, and there's a great need. And so this is a real challenge for the Facility Master Plan Committee and for the board, because there are going to have to be some pretty big shifts, I think, and people are going to have to get pretty creative in figuring out how to accommodate students we do have some facilities, but they're not in the same places that the students are. So you can imagine what problems this creates. So Anne Marie, a couple of school board members, school board trustees came to Anne Marie's, her kids' elementary school to talk about this and to solicit input and talk with parents about this and educate us and get feedback back. And they expressed interest in coming to Keeling. And so this is really initiated by the school board members to want to come and talk. So Anne Marie's working with them about getting on their schedule. And so it may not work out for one of our regular meetings, but we want to get them here to talk about this. And I would just encourage everyone to come, even if you don't know how it impacts you or how it might impact Keeling or another school. It's just really, I think it's really important to come and learn about it and bring any, and questions might occur to you. I guarantee that I think once you get educated and involved about the process that you will become interested. I think it's going to affect many of us all across the district.
Well, and I believe that one of the things in the facility master plan, in the bond issue would have had a really big impact on Keeling. They did the addition here 7 years ago, making it possible to have, 250 more kids or something like that, and never did anything about those shared areas, all the fine arts areas, the PE areas.
The cafeteria.
The cafeteria, and that's a big issue.
That's why we have 4 lunches, because we don't have a cafeteria big enough for all the kids.
I would also
schools only
say,
do 3.
as a magnet program, we do want to know what's going on with the facility master plan, because the magnet program is not specifically tied to Keeling in that way that if they're looking at numbers and they can at any time pluck this magnet program out and move it anywhere based on where they need numbers and things like that. So it is important for us to be able to articulate why it's important that we be here as one school or not. The school really does need to have a vision about that, and parents need to be on board with a vision about that, because it is something that, it can be a hot potato in a meeting like, well, we can pull those 750 kids, 800 kids and put them over here, because it's easy for the board, without knowing that parents feel strongly about that, to think that that's something easy for them to move around. So I just think it's important for everybody to know what's going on in the discussions about facilities master plans.
Thank you, Sandra. That is a big, that, you never know what could come up. That's the point.
I was actually at the meeting, the two, Emery and I go to the same elementary school, our children do. Yeah, we had two board members come on Tuesday to our exec board meeting, and their whole thing was not about this door needs to be fixed or the roof's leaking. It was about what's the vision, right? What's the vision for this school, but what's the vision for the district? And we all just sat there and go, well, we don't know, we're in elementary school and we're thinking about getting the roof fixed and, the cafeteria needs to be bigger. And, but they're really looking for stuff for the, what's our future 5, 10, 20 years from now? My kids won't be in school in 20 years, hopefully. So it's a hard thing to think about. I don't know where I want the school system to go. So that it's kind of an interesting problem, I think.
Right, so it is a long-term plan, but it will have some immediate effects, and something they are going to be looking at is changes in the transfer policy, which, affects a lot of us here. A lot of Keeling kids take advantage of the transfer policy, and that's definitely always up for, because it's, it overcrowds some schools, and they're looking at it, I think, as a solution to also some enrolled schools, is saying, well, you can no longer transfer or stay at your home school. So, this, there are a lot of pieces to it and a lot of reasons to be interested. Okay, one more thing I wanted to mention is, did anyone see the AISD movie? Okay, it was great, and Keeling was featured. The music production program was the first item in the movie.
Yeah.
It was the very beginning, and it was a big part of it.
And what Dr. Kostarpin told me was that when she saw the video, she directed them to create the whole thing around our opening video. She thought it was so powerful. So kudos to Mr. Eisler for creating that. He's our music production teacher, and he is doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, so it should be on the website now.
Yes,
So I saw it in the theater, which was great. But yeah, it should be on the website, and there's a lot of good info. I mean, there are a lot of performances that are fabulous, by kids around the district. But there's also a lot of good info in there, and I think you can kind of tell. I mean, the things that Dr. Karstarfin chose to be in the movie are things that are important to her, and so the facilities master plan is mentioned. A tax ratification election is mentioned. So, that was kind of a signal to me that, okay, this looks like it's going to happen. And as a way to permanently fund the raises, the staff raises that were given last year. So there's good info in there as well as good performances. And she also, Dr. Karstarfin also mentioned that there were many things that were left out of left on the cutting room floor for the movie. And there were so many great things that were left on the cutting room floor. One thing she specifically mentioned was the LASA video about LASA, that had LASA students creating a wheelchair.
The robotics team.
Robotics team creating a wheelchair. So she said those things that were not included will also be on the website for people to see. So please, I haven't checked it out yet, but I want to. Okay, well that is all I have. So we're adjourned. Thank you. Oh, Kristen. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I've already talked way too much. The only thing I really have is our MLK Day of Service on Saturday, January 18th from 9:45 to 12:45. And we're expecting, student athletes from UT and different community groups to come, and we'd love a huge Keeling turnout. And basically it's just community building, fellowship, and then doing some neighborhood cleanup.
It was awesome last year.
It really was.
I couldn't believe it. We had like 200 kids from UT show up to volunteer. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So Kristen, is that something that you sign up for in advance, or is it something where you just show up?
I believe you just show up. Yeah.
Okay. Any need to bring anything in particular?
There are gloves and whatnot provided. If you want to bring your own, you can bring your own.
Okay, so that kind of thing is provided.
Yes.
We provided gloves and the trash bags, And they even had some, but not enough, so if you have your own, litter picker-uppers.
Grabbers.
Grabbers, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a good way to show, you know, our participation in the greater community that we're temporarily part of.
Okay,
And
thank
can
you
I
so
add
much for
one more
organizing
thing?
that.
Dean Francois has been our garden person for PTA, and she has done an amazing job. Last year I said, Neen, I would love a garden at Keeling. I had one at my school in Houston, and she just whoosh, ran with it. If you've seen it out there, it's awesome. So if you know of anyone or you have a passion for gardening, Neen will be leaving us at the end of this year, and we need to turn the reins of the garden over to someone else. So we would appreciate if you'd help spread that word.
I think that was part of Julie's son's Eagle Project.
There were
The
several
other-
Eagle
oh.
projects done over there.
Several Eagle Scout projects, yes. And the outdoor classroom is so
Yeah.
cool.
Great.
And everybody should put April 5th on their calendar
What's happening April 5th?
now. Healing Center Stage.
Healing Center Stage,
Just go
April 5th.
ahead and put that on your calendar now.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right, well, now we're really adjourned. Thanks very much.
Thank you.